he comes up around the corner and he's like, holy shit. Like he was just, whoa. Like it was just, there was like hundreds of people everywhere. But if you didn't go around the corner, you wouldn't even know it was there because you couldn't even hear the music. It was just, and you couldn't really see the lights just the way the trees were or something. But we were like, where did that come from? So Highway Park, we go to this club, and it was like Western Night or something like that. I can't remember. You weren't allowed to wear a hat, but because I used to wear a cowboy hat all the time, like with a big skull in the front and stuff. So because it was cowboy night, I could wear my hat. So that was kind of cool. But we're sitting at the bar, music's playing, I'm fucking dancing, just being a goofball and having some fun. Ralph's just chilling at the bar, talking to a couple people. So I come back to the bar, and it's a little embarrassing, but it's a funny story. And I let out the most nasty fart, and I don't say anything. So Ralph's sitting there, he's drinking his beer, and he just stops, and he just kind of looks over at me, and I'm like, you can tell it was me because I'm like laughing, and he goes, "Some bitch," because he used to say "some bitch" all the time. Like he got it from Jackie Gleason and Smoking the Bandit. And I know that because I made a comment about it one time. He goes, "Yeah, man, Jackie's my boy, man. That's where I got it from." He didn't say it exactly like that. That's not how he talked, but that's how I'm gonna say it. But anyway, so he's like, "You some bitch." And then we look over. There's a guy on the other side of me, and he's got his pint glass, right? So he's like, "Oops, I'm dropping shit." But now imagine there's no straw. But he's sitting there and he's trying to drink it. And he's like, he thinks it's the beer. So we're kind of watching him, and we're like laughing, and like Ralph had like this kind of giggly face, I remember, and he's just kind of like this, and I'm like this, and the guy's like looking around, and he's like, I swear he thought it was the beer, which made it even funnier for us because we're like, how is he that dense? It was obviously us. So skip ahead later in the night, we go back to the hotel, and we stopped at McDonald's. There was a McDonald's there, so we grabbed some McDonald's. So I'm eating my cheeseburgers. I'm like, this is my cheeseburger. And I took it and I licked it. Ralph's like, that's nasty, man. That's nice. I licked it, put it back, and I go, there. Now if anyone eats it, they can eat my spit. But that was funny. And then there was these assholes that were there, and they were making all kinds of noise. They were breaking things. They did some damage. And they took a friend of ours, his name was Kevin, and threw his boot out the balcony out into the snow. And he even took a beer bottle, and when you pop it open on a ledge, well, he did that on the ledge and took out a big chunk of wood. So anyway, we still had one more night after this night, but that was their last night. So they were just being like goofballs, like assholes. And so there's a camera sitting on the table, and Ralph looks over, and I got my pants halfway down, and I'm just taking crotch shots with the camera. And I put it back there. That'll show them. But then it turned out the camera actually belonged to somebody in our crew. So joke's on me, I guess. But he was like, he thought it was the funniest thing. And then when we found out later whose camera it actually was, we're like, oh. At least I didn't put my face in the picture. And I had a couple tattoos then. But the next morning, the guy who actually threw the boot out into the snow, Ralph said he was going to have a talk with him. So we're sitting there, and only me, Kevin, and Ralph, I think, knew about it. No one else knew about it. All the people in our store were watching. I remember we were watching Waiting with Ryan Reynolds. And so the guy comes upstairs, and he's looking for something. And Ralph looks at me, goes, and I'm like, so Ralph, you just see him slowly get up, and he's putting on his angriest face, right? Like he was pissed, but not like pissed enough to actually punch somebody. And he goes, can I talk to you for a minute? He goes, can I talk to you for a minute? So the guy goes, yeah, what's up? And he goes, what's the idea of taking my friend's boot and throwing it out the window in the snow? Like he just said it, like he just kind of went real ghetto and angry. And suddenly the TV paused because no one knew what was going on. and everybody just turns and looks, and they're looking at Ralph angry and yelling, and they're like, because that's not his personality at all. Like he was just the biggest, sweetest guy, and they all just kind of stopped and looked, and the guy had his sunglasses on. He goes, and the guy was a little taller than me. He was kind of a stocky, or not stocky, like he wasn't like a skinny guy. He looked like, kind of athletic guy, but he compared to Ralph, he was just, you know, so leans right into his face, and he's like, "Take off your glasses. I want to look at your eyes." And the guy pulls off his sunglasses, and then Ralph takes them, tosses them on the counter, and the guy's eyes were like this big. And he's like, "What's the idea?" He repeated. He goes, "What's the idea? Taking my friend's boot, throwing it out in the snow." And I said, "It wasn't me. It was you. It was you. Someone saw you." And the guy's just like, and he goes, "Say sorry." And he's like, "Okay, sorry, whatever." I don't remember the whole conversation. And Ralph goes, "Get out of here." And he goes and sits back down. The guy leaves. So we're all sitting there, and he's kind of like, and then about a minute later, the guy sheepishly comes back upstairs. And I give him credit for coming back upstairs. But he comes upstairs and goes, "You see my sunglasses?" I was like, "Counter." And he's just staring at the guy. The guy grabs it, puts his head down, and leaves. And then as soon as we heard the door shut, we all just burst out laughing because, well, it was funny, and the guy was an asshole. So a couple other little Ralphisms. He went through this little phase where he'd slap everybody on the butt, or like the guys anyway. And he was like, "Good game." Slap you on the butt when he was busy. What the hell? But I don't know. It was funny. It was harmless. Just trying to think if I got anything. I wrote a couple things down here. No, I think that's about it. All I'm going to talk about in this video right now. But I just want to say that, yeah, Ralph, he was a good soul. Really, really nice guy. Always helping, always there for his friends. At least when I knew him. And I can't even think of one bad thing I can say about the guy. So it was a really sad loss, unfortunate loss, especially that he was so young. And like I said, I don't know if he was ill or if it was just fate, an accident. I'm not sure. But we've lost quite a few people actually from that store. I'm not going to go into the names, but all of them were decent people. And Ralph is one of the ones that on top of that list. He was, at least from my perspective, he's the one I knew the most out of them all the people we lost. And so, yeah, I just want to say, rest in peace, brother. And the world's going to miss you. So that's all I got to say about that. And if you watch us all the way, thank you so much. Subscribe, comment, all the usual stuff. But anyway, yeah, just it's unfortunate, little sad, very sad. And I guess that's really about it. So until the next one.